Okay, so Jesus. Um, topic for today is quality and time. Quality and time. We're going to be talking about quality and time. Is there a difference? If there is a difference, what's the difference? Hold on. Okay. Alright. Quality and time. Is there a difference? And if there is, what's the difference between quality and time? But for that, I'd probably say there is a difference to whatever extent. There's a difference to a minor extent. So you got quality and you got time. Quality would be good. So if you say, oh, that phone is top quality, okay, that's good quality. It's good. Time is time. Time is time. So time. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But when you put quality time, I spent quality time with this person. So you're saying the quality was good and the time was good. So for people who say, for people that say, I pray, I read, I spend time with God, they'll use the term, I spend time, but why not? Let's replace the spin. Not replace the spin. Let's put in between spin. Let's put quality. I spend quality time with God. Let's see how that sounds, okay? So, regular English. This is English class right now. I spend time with God. That sounds quite broad in a sense of blunt. I'm trying to find the right words for this. It sounds broad in that of you just spent time. Okay, you can spend time with anybody. I spent time with Walmart today. I spent time at Walmart just buying stuff. I spent time with this person. I didn't spend time. I was just in their presence. So that time, okay. But if you space out spend and time and put in that space quality, okay, I spent quality time with this person, meaning we engaged each other. We were together. We were actually together. So for people who say, I spend time with God, do you spend quality time with God? Because everyone can spend time with God. You need to spend quality time. So this is like a grace and truth kind of thing. So yes, and it's like a faith and works kinds of thing. You need both quality and time to get into heaven. Just like you need grace and truth to get into heaven. Just like you need faith and works to get into heaven. You need quality and time. And let me explain. So the other day, I was praying. I was sleep praying. Okay, I was sleep praying. For the first maybe hour, I was in. Okay, I was in. Trust me. I was with the Lord, and then for the last hour, I was asleep, but I was still praying. I was sleep praying. That's common. That's common. Not for me. I don't always do that. Actually, that was my first time doing that in a while. But so I was sleep praying, and then later my day didn't go the way I planned. Like, Lord, how I ended up still doing this? Like, you spent time, so 2 hours in the presence, that's some time. But you didn't spend quality time, so you didn't get what you needed. I didn't spend good time. So let's replace the word quality with good. I didn't spend good time with God. I didn't get everything out. I was half asleep for for the last hour. So I didn't spend quality, good. What's another synonym? I need a synonym. I didn't spend good. I didn't spend quality. I didn't spend, I don't know any other words. Just good and quality. I didn't spend that time with God. I spent time, not quality, good time. So I wasn't all the way in. I was just there. So it's the difference between just being there and then you may say, okay, how can it go backwards? Well, you can spend quality but not time. So, there's times where I spent a whole hour when I was younger in the faith, I spent an hour and then I end up, but I was in, like, Lord, I was there. Well, how come I do this? How come I still did this? How come I was still disobedient in this area of my life? And Lord's like, you didn't spend enough time with me, man. You wasn't with me long enough. Yes, the time was good, as in when you were there, it was good. But you didn't stay to let me work on you. I didn't have enough time to work on you. You didn't give me enough time to work on you. So that's why you need quality and you need time. Quality time with God. Quality time with God. You don't just need quality with God. You need quality time. Good time with God. You need a good time with God. And you don't need just, time. You don't need to be there for a long time without getting the goodness, the quality out of it. So you need both. Quality time. So for people who say, I pray, I read, and I'm not trying to throw shade and be like, oh, you don't read enough, because everybody's expectation is different. So my expectation of how much time I should spend with God is different from yours. So you may say, well, I sit with God for 13 minutes and I read 2 chapters a day. And I'll ask you, okay, how come I can go on your Instagram or on your YouTube and see perversion and see the world? How come I can see worldliness on that? Well, everybody's going. No, there's no everybody's going. You need to amplify your time. Amplify your time with God. If 13 minutes and 2 chapters a day isn't keeping you from doing that, then that time needs to go up. You need to amp that time. You need to turn up the music. You need to turn up the time, turn up the quality, because obviously 13 minutes and 2 chapters isn't going to keep you from the jaws of hell. So you need more. You need more. A lot of people will be like, why you people at your church worship so long? Why they worship so long? Y'all be in church for so long. Like, you must not understand that this world is wicked. Our flesh, we are still human. We are still human. We're still just as human as you are. We have a sinful flesh. We were born and shaped in iniquity. Born and shaped in iniquity. So we have a sinful flesh. We have sinful desires. Sam has sinful desires. Trust me. And some of them get acted on. And I know that about myself. So I was like, oh man. When I sit with God, I need to sit there for a while. So when we go to church and we're there for 4 hours, people are like, man, your church, y'all take too long in there. Why y'all be in there for so long? I think your church is a cult. Like, oh, really? That's why we're going to go to heaven and you're NOT. So, that's the difference. That's the difference. When you spend quality time with God, that quality time should keep you from doing certain things. And you say, does it keep you from doing certain things? And I say, there are times that I do spend quality time, and other times where I'm just as human. Like, yeah, Lord, like, Sam, you only sat here for an hour and 30 minutes. Like, yeah, Lord, I'm about to go out there and eat breakfast. Like, oh, okay. You want to go eat breakfast? And then Lord, how I did this? How come I wasn't faithful in this area? How come I was disobedient in this area? You only sat there for an hour and 30 minutes. What could you expect from in an hour and 30 minutes? Like, look, I expect something. No, you got some high expectations. You need to sit there for longer. And I'm not saying that sometimes God doesn't allow me to leave at an hour and 30 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes. Sometimes He does. When He's like, okay, your time here is completed. Oh, okay. So then, okay, yeah, you can go out and do that. But there are other days where the Lord's like, you need to sit a little bit longer. And those are some times I'm like, nah, I'm about to go out here and eat some of these pancakes. I'm about to eat some of that sausage. My mom's whipping up grits. I'm about to eat good. And then I'm going to lay back down. So, that's the life of a homeschool kid. Eat and go back to sleep. I don't do that necessarily. But you got to spend quality time with God. You got to understand that just spending time and just getting it all out to God isn't enough. You need both conjoined. You need to get it all out to God, but you need to sit there for a while until He changes you. And once you get that in your head, like, okay, quality time with God, your life is going to go higher. You're going to go higher. And the wickedness that you are in right now, you're not going to be in. So one thing that I learned is, with certain issues that I have, when I was struggling in a high, strong level of lust, I was told, okay, if I sit with God, so I know that when God delivers you from something, He doesn't necessarily completely deliver you from it. He'll just peel off a layer of it. So he peels off layers of lust, layers of disobedience, layers of rebellion, layers of covetousness, layers of deceit, layers of lying and stuff like that. He peels off layers of the world, layers of wickedness. He pulls off layers. It's like, So if God pulls off layers, depending on how long, so let's say God, every 2 hours, he peels off a layer. And you have 500 thick layers of sin. Let's just use, so you have layers of sin, trust me. And you may have 500 thick layers of lust, 1,000 thick layers of pride. Whatever you poured into when you were in the world the most, you're going to have thick layers of that. So he may every 2 hours peel off a layer of lust. Oh, okay, I feel a layer of lust gone. But you still got 499 more to go. So, okay, if I know every 2 hours he peels off a layer, and I need these 500 layers gone, I need to sit with God for more than just 2 hours, because he only pulls off one layer. He pulls off one layer of lust, one layer of pride, one layer of covetousness, one layer of rebellion, one layer of disobedience, one layer of the world, one layer of falseness. He only pulls off one every 2 hours. And if he only pulls off one every 2 hours, then if you like, Lord, I need at least 5 layers gone today of each. I was like, I pull off a layer every 2 hours. If you want 5 layers gone, you got to give me 10 hours. And you may say, I don't got time to sit in the presence for 10 hours. And that is perfectly fine. I'm not judging you. Sam does not sit with God for 10 hours. The most I've ever sat with God in my personal time is 3. So I'm not telling you that you're a sinner because you didn't sit with God for 10 hours. I'm telling you, you need to understand that you need quality time with God. So if it takes 2 hours for just one layer to be pulled off, you need to be doing at least 2 hours. At least for these layers to be pulled off. And if every day you hit 2 hours, okay, every day I did 2 hours. Okay, every day he's pulling off a layer. And it's going to take 500 something days. That's like 2 years. And then at the end of 2 years, Lord, I've been completely delivered from lust. Yes. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily. Now, I just said it in a very easy, blatant, plain way. I've said it in a plain way. Usually things aren't necessarily like that. So the spiritual world is very different from what I just told you. So if it was that easy, there'd be mega churches run by passionate, true men of God. Most pastors aren't true. If that was the case, what I just said, the world would look very differently. So it's not necessarily that. That's just an example. Usually God may say, okay, every 9 hours I pull off a layer. You're not going to sit with God for 9 hours. So if you have a thick layer that's made up of 100 layers, so you have this one layer that's made up of 100 layers. Each 9 hours, he peels off one layer of the one layer. And you're not going to sit with God for 9 hours. So, okay, it takes 9 hours for him to pull off the thick layer. So if you was to sit with God for 9 hours, he's peeled off one of the thick 500 layers. So you got 500 thick layers of lust. And each of those thick layers is 100 mini layers. So in those mini layers, he's pulling off in the 30 minutes, the 40 minutes. Okay. Every 40 minutes, I pull off one of those thin layers. But if we just multiply 500 times 100, that's what? 50,000. That's 50,000 layers of lust that has to be pulled off. So, if I sit with the Lord for 9 hours straight, he's going to peel off that. That's quality time. And when you're going to feel that come off, like, whoa, that was a thick layer. That's why you got people that jump and scream like, yes, God, yes, God. Because God, they sat there for so long, or they've been in the presence for so long, God just put off a thick layer, a thick one. So now it's like, when he pulls off the thin layers, you feel like I'm not saying that God's presence is minor, but when he pulls off the thinner layers, it's less of an impact. It has less of an impact on you. in the physical. And when I say that, I'm saying that with strong caution because I need you to understand. So, okay. Okay, let's say you have a backpack. You have a backpack. Okay, so these are my school books. These are school books. So you have a backpack of 100 of these books. Let's say these books are bigger. You have a backpack full of books. And then someone takes a book out. If you take a book out, the backpack is going to be lighter and you're going to feel the lightness of it quicker. Rather than someone ripping off just a page out of it, you're not going to feel much of a difference. But you're going to know, okay, it's lighter. I know it's lighter. That's how I would explain it, but it's different because it does still have a high impact. It still does have a very high impact, even when he does pull off the thin layers. So just imagine that. And you may say, well, that's going to take the rest of my life. That's why Christianity is for so long. It's forever. You don't, okay, I've finished. All of the layers are gone. Now I'm not a Christian. No, you're going to be a Christian forever because he's going to be delivering you forever. Nobody's going to, unless you're just very strong, you're not going to sit with God for 9 hours. People have lives. God knows that. Okay, you have a life. And he's going to put you to work. God's not going to just let you sit there for 9 hours because he needs to keep you busy. And God doesn't want you to think of yourself above measure. So you may say, like, okay, so Sam said 500 layers, 9 hours, he pulls off a thick layer. So if I sit with God every day for 500 days, for 9 hours, God will pull off them layers. Yeah, a whole thick layer a day. And God knows, okay, so this guy, he would literally do that. So let me make them busy. Hey, you're required to preach for this long and this many times a day. You have to preach twice a day. And then you got to go to church. And then you got to go to work. And then you got to clean your car. And then you got to take care of your family. And you don't have time to sit with me for 9 hours. You may say, why doesn't God want me to be free? It's not that God doesn't want you to be free. God knows how people are. So if he peels off those layers super fast, people are going to think of themselves above measure. Like, I ain't even lustful. Like, and that still shows signs of weakness. But he wants to keep you busy for the rest of your life. He wants to keep you busy. And you may say, so why is there people in ministry? People are in ministry because God's like, okay, I've taken down about 400. No, taken about 200 of those layers. 200, that's the mark of, okay, now you're not that way no more. You don't even act in lust. You have the other 300 layers of lust to be pulled off, but you don't even know that it's there. That's why you got to pray prayers like, search me and know me, God, because God has made you so holy that it's like, no one can even tell. But, 200 or 100 layers ago, people were like, oh, that brother lustful. But, another 100 layers away, you're still, and that takes years. 20 years into faith, oh, okay, 200 layers off. Like, it took 20 years for you to pull off 200 layers. People don't live for 900 plus years anymore. So, you only live for like 80 to 120 years. Not even that because of the food we eat. So maybe like 80 to 90 years people live. 80 to 100. I'll give that 80 to 100. Every 20 years, 200 layers, depending on how faithful you are. Your faithfulness plays. So if you're like a semi-faithful son, 40 years you into your life, and you're not nobody's saved the day they're born. So 40 years into your life, you may get saved at like, so in my case, I got saved at 14. 40 years into my life, I'll be 55. Oh, no, 54. I'll be 54 in 40 years. I'll be 54. If I'm a hard-headed son, you looking for something? They're downstairs. Auntie Kenya had them. They're downstairs on the floor in that area, the walkway area. Yeah. But if I'm a hard-headed son, which sometimes I can tend to be, if I'm a hard-headed son, 40 years, I'll be 54. And God's like, yeah, it took me 40 years to pull off those 200 layers because you're a hard-headed son and I had to keep slapping you upside the head, man. If you're faithful, okay, 20 years, I'll take off those 200. And then another 2 years, I'll take off the other 200. That's 40 years. I got a little bit more time to live. However the math works with God, I know I'm way off with that. But however the math works with God, and sorry if my hair offends you right now, but however the math works with God, that's how it's going to be. So you need quality time combined with God. You can't expect to spend 2 seconds in the presence and expect to see miracles like what Jesus was doing. And like, you can't expect, oh, I sat with God for 2 full minutes. Oh man, I'm finna walk past this person and my shadow is finna heal them. Your shadow isn't healing nobody. You only sat with God for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You're not doing anything. You need to sit with God for quality time. Quality time with God. If you don't spend quality time with God, then you're going to be a very weak Christian. I'm just telling you that. And for me, it's like the other day I was sitting with the Lord and something began to happen to me. And I just sat there. I had my eyes closed. And then I stopped praying in the Spirit, because that's what I was doing. I was praying in the Spirit. It stopped coming out of my mouth, where it's just in my head. I started praying in the Spirit. I just said, go in Jesus' name. And usually, I'd be like, come, go right now in Jesus' name. I got to say it like 5 to 30 times for it to actually take force, for actually to go. I just said it once, and it went like, ooh. I just like, ooh, like, like, ooh, thank you, Jesus. I think I was at least an hour in with the Lord, an hour in at least. So, and if it's usually like I'm an hour in and I have to say this thing 30 times I have to say go in Jesus' name 30 times in order for it to actually go. So, imagine where I'm going to be in the next few years. Maybe I'll be able to say it 2 times. But the Lord just gave me a taste. Oh, you just said that once, man. Like, yes, that did happen. So, it takes time. Most people are like, man, it's going to take too long to become a true Christian. Like, no, you can be a true Christian right now. Not saying I don't make mistakes. Not necessarily mistakes. Most of the things I just do them. And I need God. That's why, and since I know I need God, sometimes I be like, Lord, do I have to preach today? Do I have to? I don't entirely ask him that. But in my head, like, Lord, I don't think I should today, because I need to get this out of me. The Lord's like, I'll give you a pass, man. Other days, the Lord's like, look, man, look, listen to me. You're going to get on there and you're going to preach. And then when you get off, you're going to do this. Okay. Yes, sir. You don't hear, so you guys are going to hell if you don't repent. And I get up, Lord, I'm going to hell if I don't repent. God's like, you're not going to hell, man. I got you. So, that's how it's supposed to be, until until you are at a level. Once you reach that level, okay. And God's like, I've sealed you. You're mine now. Not you're mine. I've sealed you. Like, oh, yes, I've sealed you. You're mine. Oh, I'm sealed. So now I don't have to focus on going to heaven. And I'll never have to worry about going to hell, ever. I know I'm going to heaven. Now I just have to look forward to my life. Like, oh, so what do I want to do while I'm here? Once you get sealed, it's like, man, what do I want to do now? Oh, I'm sealed. I don't have to worry about going to heaven. I'm going. I have when you get a ticket, you got a guaranteed seat. God's like, you have a guaranteed seat. I've sealed you. You're mine. You're never going to hell. You're never going to hell. If I have to punish you, I'm not going to tell you, you better do this or I'm sending you to hell. It'll be just, you better do this or I'm going to make you fall down those stairs when you go outside. Like, I don't want to fall down the stairs, but you better do what I told you to do. Yes, sir. So, and when you're sealed, I'm telling you, when you're sealed, it's amazing. It's probably the best feeling ever. It's probably the best feeling ever when you're sealed. Like, when like, man, I'm not going to hell. Like, I'm not even going. I can go and do anything. When you're sealed, you can, that's God's mark of approval on you. You can do anything you want to do. God's like, do whatever you want to do. You're sealed. I know. And let me tell you something. He does not seal everybody. He does not seal everybody. Trust me, he doesn't. So, because he knows I can't tell that guy to go do whatever. So it takes time. You have to build up a reputation of faithfulness before you're sealed. So, okay, after 15 years of serving the Lord faithfully, God's, okay, you're sealed now. You can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want, man. It took 15 years for you to do this? Yes, you had to build up credibility. Like, I'm not saying that's the exact math. Sometimes God, I'm still this guy after year 1. I'm still him. God does what he wants to do. I'm still him the very next day. He just got baptized. I'm still him the very next day. However that works with God. But when you're sealed, there's a certain measure of access and leeway that you get with God. It's like, you're an older son. You give your 15-year-old the keys to your car and let him drive while you're in the car. You wouldn't give your 2-year-old no keys. Like, your 2 years, can I drive? Like, did you what? Get in that car seat. I know you're not in my driving seat. I know you're not in my driver's seat. If you don't get in that car seat, get back in that car seat. Like, yeah. But my 15-year-old, yeah, come sit here. Let me show you. Drive like this. Yes, do that. Yeah, and you get more leeway. I'm sitting in the front driving with my mom, because I'm learning. I'm 15. I'm driving. Not that I don't know how to drive. I know how to drive, but I'm still going through the motions. So, but my 2-year-old baby sister isn't going to be able to drive, okay? So your 15-year-old son, okay, yes, do this. Yeah, back up, slowly. Okay, now cut your wheel, cut it. Make sure you check your mirrors. Okay, good job. Now accelerate slowly. You're not going to be doing that with your little kid. Put that seat belt on and sit back before I pop you. So, your 2-year-old don't get as much privileges as your 15-year-old. So God, like, okay, 15 years in, all right, I'll seal you and I'll give you this. I feel as if you're ready for it. And you're ready. So now you have it. And you can go and do that. But it takes quality time. And quality time doesn't just mean your daily time with the Lord. Quality time, your life. Your life needs to be quality time with the Lord. 15 years of spending quality time with the Lord, you'll be a great person. You'll be great. Depending on the purposes of God for your life, you'll be great though. So you have to keep that in mind. Quality time with God is what you need. You don't need those 2 seconds thinking that you're on Peter's level. No, you're not on Peter's level. No, you're not. You need quality time. So, I love you all, and God willing, I'll talk to you in the next 24 hours.